Posted a link on the chat box. Pranav, can you confirm if you can access the sheet?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Shubham, can we start or are we still anticipating people to join?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Um, okay. For people who were there the last time, you know the flow, right? You know the drill, how it goes. So we'll pick one question set, 2 to 3 minutes for you guys to solve, and followed by open discussion. Okay. I do not want this session to be just one-sided, me giving all of you gyan. I want it to be reciprocatory in nature. That is how we'll also go today. Uh, just confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. All right then. It's 7:03. All right. Now take 3 minutes. Read the set and the first question. Uh, put up your answers on the chat box, and then we'll discuss how this question goes. All right. Uh, so there's a company which is operating in seven northeastern states. The organization has history of participative decision making, wherein people deliberate openly about pros and cons of every important decision, right? And a broad consensus is taken before taking the final decision. So there's this new GM who joined, and he challenged the pay structure rather. So he urged the top management to include two more additional parameters, which is collection of information about competitors and quality of relationship with the retailers. Now, Manohar, who's already there in the company and also the highest earning employer for the last 3 years, opposes the proposal, right? Which of these could be like, which of these can be a likely reason for him to oppose? All right, all right, all right. A, I see E, I see C, E, E, A, E. Any one of you. The first question. If you want to discuss what your thought process what was, how did you go about it? Yep, go ahead, Chinmay.
Yeah, so first and foremost, for eliminating options, I thought of was to consider the extremity should be eliminated. So regarding the option B and A, I thought they are extreme options because considering it as a serious threat or he's not interested in collecting the information. Similarly, it was with D. And regarding C, I mean C and E, I was clumsy, but I thought that E would be most appropriate. That he might need to work harder to earn the highest salary because he has to do give more efforts to have
Right.
information about him, competitors and all.
All right. See, your thought process is in the right direction, I would say. For option A, it talks about favorable position, right? There is no mention of favorable position. He might be the highest earning employee, but does that actually give him a favorable position in the company? Is it helping him in promotions? Is it helping him in any other way rather than pay? So there is no mention of that, right? That we can eliminate. B again is a bit of an extreme option, I would say, because he's not interested. How do we infer that, right? Option D, he is not interested again on similar lines of option B. Now, we have two options remaining with us, right? Option C and option E. Now, one thing I want to highlight is this is an actual ZAT 2012 question, right? And uh, correct me on the number if anybody is aware of, but ZAT did not publish an official answer key before 2016, I guess. Okay, not sure about the year, but उसके पहले के जो भी papers है, right? उनके answers कोचिंग वाले ही डिटरमाइन करते हैं more or less. So when I was going through this answer key, I saw two differing answers for two different coachings, rather तीन. ठीक है तो I'll not take the names, but a few of them were in favor of option E, a few of them were in favor of option C. um, that is what I was trying to highlight in the previous session also, that DM can be subjective in nature, but more or less, if you are able to narrow down your options to two options primarily by eliminating the other three, you're on the right track. Okay. Uh, if you personally ask me what I feel about the question is option C hona chahiye rather than E. The reason being he is already the highest earning employer and he is doing good in sales. And if a person is good in sales, that means that they are good in relationships and they have information about the competitors also, right? Option C, why I say it is again, how do you measure quality of a relationship, right? It's a very, very again subjective metric. You can't actually quantify a quality, right? If that makes sense. If someone wants to challenge this, go ahead. अगर नहीं है clarity है सबको, then we can move to question two.
Just
So
one
हाँ.
run of this side. So why would he? I mean, going by option C, he
Mhm.
could have just, I mean, discussed it over, right? So he could have asked whether we are going to give the weightage to these all three parameters and how much will it be. Why would he vehemently oppose the GM's proposal that you don't have to give? I mean, you don't have to consider these parameters at all.
Right. So, ठीक है. Makes sense. Your argument does make sense. So, let's say I have one additional parameter, quality of relationship. Let's just see this parameter. Okay. So, as I mentioned, that how do we quantify a quality, right? So, there can be chances that favorism happens in the company, right? There is lack of transparency in the entire process because there is no way how one can quantify sales. हाँ ठीक है, we have the figures. We can say this person is rank one, this person is rank two, this person is rank three. Finish. But that can be one parameter, right? That how do we actually make sense out of the new parameters?
Makes sense.
Yep.
Sir, but if we consider that C option now, is it not more judgmental, right? Person sitting on the position of general manager, we are saying that he's not having clarity. So, considering him as a GM, he might have. I mean, uh, I thought that it could be somewhat judgmental thing that to say he has no clarity regarding the importance of the parameters.
We also need to take into account that he's a new GM. He does not know how the company works, how the culture is, right? Uh, so that was one thing that we can consider. If he was someone who was there in the company since long, uh, things might be different.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, one more thing, just for considering option E,
Mm.
just as you said that, because he was already someone who was good in sales, it automatically implies that he would be someone who can maintain good quality of relationship, but that is not like true, like definitely true case, right? We can consider that, okay, if someone is good in sales, that means if I give you two more job roles, that collecting information about your other companies plus quality, maintaining quality relationships, you are going to be definitely good at that, right?
See, sales primarily also includes maintaining relationships. Without a good relationship, you cannot push a sale. And also the fact that he was the highest earning employee for the last 3 years, that means that he had been overachieving the sales target for the last 3 years. It's not a 1 year fluke thing, right? So there have been repetitive sales. It's more or less an inferred statement, I would say.
Okay.
Right. Question two answers, please. Right, ये तो relatively easier था, right? Question two. So, uh, the top management refused to implement the proposal from the beginning. Which of the followings could be uh, the reasons why the management did so, right? So, A option, to ensure that no manager will get credit for a major change, does not make sense. Again, to avoid attracting criticism for their failure to implement a similar scheme. How do we know that the scheme has already failed? His past experience is limited to seven northeastern states only. Again, does not make much sense. The GM is new to the organization and he would require some time to implement the new plan. This is something that we can consider, we cannot directly reject. Option E, the top management would need time to deliberate and get consensus. Now, in the paragraph only, it was mentioned that the company has a history of participative decision making, right? So it would need to have a consensus if a new policy is being implemented. Options E makes the most sense. Go ahead. Someone raised their hands, I guess.
Yeah, hi. Good
Hmm.
evening. Okay,
Yeah.
I am a bit confused between the option D and E. As
Hmm.
suppose the option mentioned, the both the particular individuals require some time to check whether the new scheme, the new plan is can be implemented properly or not.
Right.
Means in option D, the GM requires some time to implement the plan, and in the option E, the management requires some time to check whether the plan is considered to be good or not. So, can you just differentiate in between
Right.
those?
So option D is only talking about one particular individual, right? That the GM would require. Now the GM has already proposed, right? And the top management has refused to implement. So how does that make sense? The GM is like, we are ready with the plan, and then the top management is refusing. Option E talks about getting a consensus. Again, GM would may or may not be part of the discussion, but in the paragraph only, it is mentioned that the organization takes everybody's views into account.
Okay, yeah, okay,
Does
I
that
got
make
it.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you.
Also, one more thing can be that because it is mentioned, if you see in question two, that it GM wants it immediately in the beginning of next month. That is way too soon to, and that is why they need time to, get around it and understand.
Yep, makes sense. Even if the GM wants, we would require everybody's views and opinions on that, right?
Just my 2 cents on it. I
Mm.
think option D is, worded more like, in any case, the GM would push through the new plan. If you see, but in the option E, it says that have to deliberate. It might happen that at the end, company may not go ahead with that particular proposal, altogether. But the
Yeah,
D option, it says that he will implement. He will implement after some time. So that is more like a one-sided approach, I would say.
absolutely, absolutely, you're correct. I mean, the hurry also can be again inferred as something that the GM has some motive to push the plan, right? Again, it is not explicitly mentioned, but that can be a chain of thought. Okay, moving ahead with the next set. 3 minutes, 7:20 we'll discuss. I see a lot of C's, a few D's. All right. You're a director of a fast-growing mid-sized company. There were two candidates for interview, Gil and Manga, right? Now, after interviewing, you select Gil, who is an outsider, while Banga had a 15 years of experience in the same company. And now Banga is all aggravated by the fact that he was not selected and he raised a complaint, right? So, okay, anybody wants to volunteer their thought process? How did they eliminate the options? Yep, good.
Yeah, okay. So, first of all, considering the threatening one, option number one, if you see, it is very clearly mentioned that he's someone, he with a very vast experience in the company. So it's, of course, you cannot behave like that with the person that you warn him and complain, because he's just asked about it. It's nothing threatening that he has done for you to behave like that with him or treat him like that. So option A gets eliminated like that. And option B is kind of, kind of acting more as a psychologist rather than offering any solution to it. That just offer to him and let him vent out. That's all. It's nothing else. Nothing gets solved there. Option C, it is something where you try to understand because you try to empathize with him, and also you are trying to reaffirm Banga that okay, yes, the process was fair, and when also because it mentions that the details of assessment could be shared with him, it shows the transparency of it. So even if he has any doubts, even if he has any concerns, it would immediately get cleared, and he would be sure that okay, no, whatever the reason, even though the person was new, it was a fair decision. And D, in option D, the thing is that it is again kind of in a rude manner, that no, it is just like stating the obvious fact that we just want the best person and not been around the longest. It might offend Banga because he has been there since long. And also in option E, if he desired, so he could write to the CEO and you would act as per the directives received. It is also kind of just like a static thing, like doesn't make sense. You don't need to go to the CEO for such case when you can yourself like get it sorted out.
Right. Grant, right? Am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah.
All right. One quick question. Do you have work experience?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me one thing. Can you really share the details of an assessment with anyone who approaches you with a complaint?
Um, it depends, right? Like you need not share the I mean nitty-gritties of it, like each and every question or anything, but you can at least be fair enough to explain it to that person, the processes that were followed.
Right. I mean, Banga also went through the same process. He would be aware of the processes. The option states that the details of the assessment could be shared, right? Somebody else also raised their hands. If you can go. Do you have a question?
Yes, actually, I on your question, last question, this was the reason I, rejected the option C and go went to the option D.
Hmm. No, this will be the reason because see again, one point I want to highlight in DMS, um, there'll be options that may look all perfect at the first glance, right? That this should be the option to say, choose. But again, there would be some catch in that option that again it might be about confidentiality. It might be not following a process, right? So again, very subjective, but you cannot share the details of an assessment with anyone else, right? It contains information. Banga should have a trust on the company, right? That the assessment was fair. What if it was someone else who raised an objection? You cannot go ahead and start sharing the assessment with everyone, the interview scores or whatever it is. The entire hiring process in general is very confidential by nature, be it be a B school selection or be it job selection, right? Option D, you rejected because wanted the best person. Now, by best person, they can also mean the best fit, right? Does that
Yep, got it.
all
But
right?
one more thing, by
Hmm.
West itself, isn't it a? I mean, in by bird itself, it's a vague because a person, can be the right person for a particular job, even though he's not the best person, because it's subjective, right? You saying just a best person. It's blanket best. You have to say that the right person for that particular position.
Right, it makes sense. The option could have been a more descriptive one, but और क्या choose करोगे तुम out of A, B, C, E?
हाँ, नहीं
Again, there
वैसे
can be multiple right answers. You have to choose the best one out of those. मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा कि डीएम में एक डेफिनेट आंसर मिलेगा ही मिलेगा आपको.
नहीं, बाकी सब तो रिजेक्ट हो रहे हैं. आई मीन डी इज द बेस्ट ऑप्शन विद इन दीज 5 ऑप्शन, बट एक वहां
हाँ
पे पॉइंट मुझे थोड़ा सा डाउट लग रहा था.
हाँ बिल्कुल, इससे बेटर ऑप्शंस हो सकते हैं.
Hmm.
I'm not denying your move. But out of the given five options, we have to select one. By nature, that is what the paper asks us to do.
Yeah.
Someone else also, I
So
guess,
D
raised
could be
Yeah.
appropriate, no?
DM. D होगा इसका.
Yeah. So my issue with D was that the second part says not the one who has been around the longest. It kind of
Hmm.
sounds like we're not rewarding the loyalty part. You cannot just say that like we don't care about how long you have been in the company. That's why I
Yeah.
was like eliminating D.
It does make sense. Again, I'll not negate your theory over here. But again, we do not know about Gil's experience also, right? He might be an outsider, but we do not know about his previous experiences. What the option is more or less trying to say is the one who has not been the longest in the company. Uh, even when you see promotions, it's not just on the basis of age criteria or the tenure the person has served in the company. But again, what Banga did was also irrational, right? You can't just act like a baby and say that why was I not selected for the position, right? तुम नहीं रोते
Yeah.
फिरोगे. Probably he went to the HR or anyone who was in the selection committee.
Also, like I don't have work experience,
Mm.
the fact about sharing the assessment details, I just thought that he's the HR director, so he kind of had that discretion that I can share something with this guy. He has been like 15 years in the company, so that is what I can say.
You don't usually share assessments. वैसे
Okay.
logically सोचो ना कि तुम्हारा let's say किसी भी IM में call है, ठीक है, and there is you get selected and there is another person who's coming to the director of that IM and says why was I not selected? I had a better CAT percentile or better profile. So even though he may be a good candidate, you will not share the assessment details of yours to him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It is someone else's details. You
Hmm.
need to
Makes
maintain
sense.
some confidentiality with that detail, right? अगर वो खुद का डिटेल होता, खुद का फीडबैक मांगता वो, तो it could have been shared rather. But वो किसी और का ही assessment मांग रहा है. That is not fair, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And what is the guarantee that the assessment will remain to him? He may manipulate data, he may share it with other employees. वैसे ही वो गुस्से में है.
Hmm.
Right. Second question. Also, people writing answers यार एक एक करके लिख लो. We'll discuss one by one, okay? It just helps maintain a flow. मतलब you can solve it prior to that, but हाँ. Everyone for D? कोई है जिसको नहीं लग रहा है D नहीं है? Yep. Go ahead, Shweta.
एक्चुअली मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये जो कंपनी का वैल्यू और विजन है,
Hmm.
सो फोर्थ पॉइंट should be the first point while choosing, right? Eh, uh,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
so
Hmm.
basically, we always recruit people who matches our company value, who fit in, right? So
Yes.
that can also be
No, you are right, but I'll tell you why you are also wrong. Okay.
okay.
So the thing is, option D is the correct answer. Okay. सो फर्स्ट विल यू डिसाइड द इंस्टीट्यूट जहाँ पे आप लॉजिकली देखो, आप सीरीज में जाओ, राइट? तो आपको इंटरव्यू लेने के पहले आपको इंस्टीट्यूट डिसाइड करना है. डज दैट मेक सेंस? Because
Yes,
you have a cap on that you can recruit only in the five institutes, in five
right.
institutes, not more than that. So first you would decide on the institute, then आप थोड़ा सा नीचे जाओगे, and then you would choose कि हम किन बच्चों को shortlist करें. So that needs to primarily done with respect to values and vision, and then you follow remuneration. किसको ऐसा लग रहा है ऑप्शन 3 पहले आना चाहिए ऑप्शन 4 के? लेट्स नॉट लुक एट द
Okay.
ऑप्शंस, वैसे ही देखते हैं. स्टेटमेंट 3 पहले आना चाहिए स्टेटमेंट 4 के? नो वन, राइट? नो, थैंक यू. ये खासकर एक्सेल में याद रखना. एक्सेल इज अ इंस्टीट्यूट दैट focuses a lot on values, ethical behavior, and sorts like that. तो जहाँ पे भी आपको पैसा वर्सेस वैल्यूज दिखे, राइट, वैल्यूज को यू हैव टू फिट देम प्रायर टू मनी. Again, this was again a bit on the easier side, I would say. Any more objections? Yep, Shweta, please.
So in second option, I
Hmm.
just want to ask if there is an option which says कि you have to follow an advice of a person within the company and or from a different company. So we do not have to select this. क्या? We do not select these kind of options
यार
because वैसा
देखो.
होता है ना benchmark
हाँ.
करते दूसरों से पहले advice ले सकते हैं. ओ,
ओके, मेक सेंस ऑन दैट. सी, बाहर की कंपनी से तो हम यूजुअली नहीं करेंगे. ओके, बिकॉज अगेन वी डू नॉट नो व्हाट द रिक्वायरमेंट इज, स्पेशली इन दिस क्वेश्चन. Hiring is something that is very subjective to one particular organization, right? So usually we do not take and we do not discuss these things with people outside the companies. We can use benchmark data. अगर वो लिखा होता तो things might have been different for us. But इसमें straight up लिखा है कि advice of a person from a different company, right? So we do not know if the company is in the same sector, how the company is different or similar in our nature. अब now इधर ही अगर लिखा होता कि राइट कि आप किसी सीनियर बंदे इनसाइड द कंपनी से आप एडवाइस लो, दैट कुड
right.
हैव बीन इनटू कंसिडरेशन, राइट? एंड अगेन ऐसा भी नहीं हो सकता कि आप किसी और डिपार्टमेंट जंप करो. दैट पर्सन शुड बी इन द राइटफुल अथॉरिटी टू गाइड यू,
Okay.
राइट? सो वो भी एक चीज देखनी होती है कि इफ द पर्सन इज इन द अथॉरिटी और नॉट, और आप रैंडमली किसी को भी अप्रोच नहीं कर सकते हो, और यू हैव बीन
Okay.
आस्क्ड टू अप्रोच. तो those are the things we consider, nothing apart from that usually.
Alright. So अगर मुझे approach करना रहा, like if all four options are valid and I'm like going to a correct person, so where should I fit this second option? Can you
वो
help with
सबसे
that?
पहले आ जाएगा मेरे अकॉर्डिंग, बिकॉज अगेन आपने अगर शॉर्टलिस्ट कर लिया उससे पहले ही आप एडवाइस लोगे, राइट? यू वुड रैंक द इंस्टीट्यूट्स, व्हाटएवर नंबर ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट्स यू हैव, 25 इंस्टीट्यूट्स, सो यू वुड नीड टू
Right.
रैंक देम. तो इस केस में आई वुड हैव फिटेड दैट द फर्स्ट, इन द फर्स्ट पोजीशन.
Okay, thank you.
थर्ड क्वेश्चन के प्लीज. कोई है जिसको लगता है ए नहीं होना चाहिए? एनीवन विद अ डिफरेंट आंसर अदर देन ए? Right. Question I hope पढ़ लिया होगा. Directly jumping onto the options. Make every new joinee sign a 1 year bond. ये तो मतलब discard at the first eye, right? You can't do this. This is not a solution, although in real life होता है practice ये. Won't deny that, but again, that is not a solution to attrition. Start a graded annual bonus system for all employees. Okay, can see. Listen carefully to employees who are leaving to know the reason as to their exit, right? This ideally should be the first course of action. सबसे पहले तो आपको root cause find करना है, right? Although you have a rough idea that they're leaving for higher remuneration, higher packages, higher salaries, but again, you would like to know a detailed opinion about people who are leaving, right? Um, तो थ्री तो सबसे पहला आना चाहिए अब तक फ्रॉम व्हाट वी हैव सीन. ऑफर मोर प्रिविलेज टू एम्प्लॉय लाइक फ्लेक्सी टाइम ऑफिस अटेंडेंस अवार्ड, ठीक है, एंड ऑफर मोर प्रीरिक्विजिट टू पीपल सच एज सब्सिडाइज्ड फूड, ठीक है. ऑप्शन 4 and 5 टॉक अबाउट एडिशनल बेनिफिट्स, राइट? एडिशनल बेनिफिट्स जो कि आप पे के आउटसाइड दे सकते हैं, दे आर यूजुअली इफेक्टिव इन रिटेनिंग पीपल. तो वन तो डिस्कार्ड हो गया, तो एनी ऑप्शन विथ वन गोज, बी एंड डी गोज, राइट? वी आर लेफ्ट विथ एसी. नो एसी में, हाँ सौरभ, गो अहेड.
Yeah, I think everyone is considering option A. So the statements are correct, 3, 2, 4, 5. I want to check with the option C, which it's mentioning the second statement as the first option. Like if employees are leaving company and it's kind of immediate action need to be taken. So is it possible like company decide to give a annual bonus so that it can make sure the employees at least stays for a particular period of time, and then see how discuss with the employees how further we can improve our company services and make sure the company stay employees stays with the companies.
ये पढ़ो, the highlighted word. They're probably leaving for higher salary, right? तुम पता नहीं है for sure if they're leaving for higher salary. तो आपने सैलरी बढ़ा दी सबकी, ठीक है, आपने बोनस दे दिया सबको, क्या पता the reason was something else. पैसे बर्बाद. You can't roll back a decision such on a such high level, right? So what should be the ideal course of action? You should first find out the root cause reason. Anyways, अगर आप बोनस भी दे रहे हो तो immediately you cannot apply a bonus, right? You need
Uh,
again consensus. It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
yeah, it's true, but हम second statement को consider तो कर रहे हैं ना कि वो एक thing है, एक particular चीज है जो company कर सकती है. ऐसा नहीं कि हम particular second statement को eliminate ही कर दिया, बोनस देने की बात ही नहीं की. We are considering that point. तो या तो उसको कंसिडर ही ना करो अगर हम प्रोबेबली वाले वर्ड के अकॉर्डिंग जा रहे हैं, या तो स्टेटमेंट को कंसिडर ही ना करें, या तो मतलब अगर इमीडिएट वाली बात हुई कि इस एम्प्लॉयज को हमें होल्ड करना है अपनी कंपनीज में, तो एक चांसेस रहता है. मतलब जैसे इन जनरल में प्रैक्टिकल एग्जांपल लूँ कि कुछ एम्प्लॉयज जो स्विच करने की सोचते हैं इन जनरल, तो ऐसा रहता है अगर उनका कोई प्रमोशन रहता है विद इन लेट्स से नेक्स्ट 2 months, तो वो होल्ड कर जाते हैं. लेट्स से हम 2 महीने होल्ड कर लेते, देन वी विल थिंक ऑफ स्विचिंग टू द नेक्स्ट कंपनी. सो प्रॉब्ली मैं इसके कंसिडर में सोच रहा था, तो अगर बोनस के उससे हो सकता है तो होल्ड करने का ऑप्शन.
तो दैट इज व्हाट, राइट, जो तुमने बोला, दैट इज द केस ऑफ ऑप्शन 3. दे लिसन टू द एम्प्लॉय जो कि निकलने वाले हैं, राइट? दे डू नॉट लिसन टू एवरीवन. एंड ऑप्शन 2 टॉक्स अबाउट फॉर ऑल एम्प्लॉयज, राइट?
हाँ, तो एक्सट्रीम हो गया एक तरह से, काइंड ऑफ.
हाँ, काइंड ऑफ एक्सट्रीम हो गया. तो अगेन कभी भी जब यू आर फेस्ड विद द सिचुएशन, राइट, you would prefer to know the root cause first and then act on it. You usually do not act first and then find out the reason. In real life also, right?
Okay, thank you.
Pranav, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So one point of view would also be कि चलो माना मैं ग्रेडेड एनुअल बोनस दे रहा हूँ, बट कितना? वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम आवर, आई मीन लेट्स गो, आई मीन एक बार आप कंपनी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखो सौरभ. आई मीन यू वर लुकिंग फ्रॉम द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज, बट अगर कंपनी के पर्सपेक्टिव से देखो तो अगर मुझे बोनस देना है तो मैं लोगों से पूछूंगा ना कि अच्छा 20% इंडस्ट्री स्टैंडर्ड से आपको कम मिल रहा है या 10% कम मिल रहा है, देन आई वुड गेट टू नो कि बेंचमार्क इंडस्ट्री का इनके अकॉर्डिंग क्या है, बिकॉज आई वोंट spill my money recklessly, right? I would want to save as much as possible, being I mean, if I'm running the company. So that perspective we would like to know first from the employees कि उनको क्या प्रॉब्लम है और कितने का प्रॉब्लम है, 10%, 20%, 30%, उनको क्या लग रहा है, एंड देन वी वुड प्रोबेबली वांट टू गो टू द पेरोल टीम एंड से दैट ओके बोनसेस इतना बढ़ाना है, 10% बढ़ाना है, 20% बढ़ाना है, बिकॉज यू कांट really judge the quantity, right, of the money that you'll be spending out on the bonus.
Okay, yeah, I got the point.
Someone else also raised in Prachi. Yep.
Yes. So when I was going through the options, the
Hmm.
reason I eliminated the first option was because the measure has to be implemented immediately. The effect had to be immediate, and hence, implementing a new joinee signed 1 year bond would not help me right now. Help the manager, and that's the reason I eliminated. But because you mentioned that we'll eliminate it right away, is it because of some ethical grounds that we generally don't do it? Because in real life, it
Ethical भी
happens.
नहीं है यार. It would aggravate people, right? It's like you're forcing them to stay for 1 year, right? Either forcing
Okay.
up. Usually, see, corporate bonds are illegal by nature, right? What you can do is you can say that because the company is leaving, because you are leaving the company before the
Hmm.
this and this period, and we have spent some X amount on your training, so we want that X amount back. Usually ये होता है bonds का
Right.
scene,
Right.
right?
Huh.
तो हाँ, ये लॉजिक भी लगा सकते हैं कि इट वुड नॉट हैव एन इमीडिएट इफेक्ट. एंड सेकंड इज इट इज नॉट अ सॉल्यूशन टू समथिंग that is attrition related, right? Usually
Okay.
bonds revolve around a training program or some money that the company has spent on you.
Correct. I mean, and so I wanted to understand the first reason I eliminated was its immediate effect. But also, since you mentioned it's an illegal kind of a thing and XLI will not support something against value, is that also a reason to eliminate it right away?
You can have multiple reasons to eliminate an option, right?
Okay.
We can also say that it would anger people. We can also say that it's unfair to people who joined prior to that and they do not have a bond and new joinees have a bond, right? So there can be n reasons to eliminate an option, but the
Hmm.
reason should be good enough for you to eliminate.
So, no, for example, in the first question, wherein the HR could not share the details of the assessment,
Hmm.
and since that does not happen in real life, we understood that this is something which cannot this is not the option that we can go ahead with.
Hmm.
But contrary to this case, here this happens in real life, and we are eliminating this option. I mean, if immediate effect was not the reason of eliminating, could there be what was the reason?
See, अगर होता भी है ना, right? So
Hmm.
companies which have a bond, they have a bond going on for a long time, right? The bond is not primarily to fight attrition.
Okay.
Right. It is there because again the company has spent some amount of training, some amount on you on training, right?
Hmm.
So it is usually not a response to attrition also in real life also.
Okay.
If that makes
Got it.
sense. राइट.
Yes. Yes.
अगर आज
That's right.
एट्रिशन हो रहा है, मैं कल से बॉन्ड
Hmm.
नहीं साइन करूंगा. मेरे कंपनी में अगर बॉन्ड है तो 5-10 साल पहले से होगा यूजुअली,
Hmm.
राइट. आईटी इंडस्ट्री में बहुत कॉमन है बॉन्ड ग्रेजुएट लेवल पे इन जनरल
Right.
ऑल्सो, बट अगेन इट इज नॉट समथिंग एज अ रेस्पॉन्स, राइट? इट वाज देयर
Okay.
देयर
Okay. Got it.
राइट.
Thank you.
या.
एंड प्रोबेबली ये भी तो सोच सकते हैं ना सर कि उन्होंने क्वेश्चन में बोला है दैट पीपल बिलो द एज ऑफ 30 आर लीविंग, एंड हियर इट सेज न्यू जॉइनी. आई मीन just bond on new joinees will not help. I mean, new
हाँ,
joinee
वो भी है, सही बात है.
है ना.
एवरी न्यू जॉइनी की बात कर रखी है इधर. हाँ, वो
हाँ
भी है.
तो फिर
मेक सेंस, मेक सेंस, मेक सेंस, सही है. I see majorly option C versus option E, right? We are short on time, थोड़ा सा rush करता है, अगर किसी को doubt हो तो पूछ लेना, no issues with that. Option A talks about the other companies which are not being affected, right? So it does not talk about anything about the loss-making companies. So we can rule out that option. Option B, again, the performance of three companies was stagnant for 3 years before. How does that make sense? Option C को बाद में देखते हैं. Option D, people holding senior positions have been replaced by younger people with less experience. Again, this will not reduce the concerns, right? It would rather increase the concerns if I was there. So option C versus option E. Now, the option E does make sense कि the two loss-making companies का industry are also incurring losses. And option C says that a financial newsletter, a reputed financial newsletter, has advised investors to invest. So when does a financial newsletter when would a financial newsletter would advise investors to invest? When the newsletter is aware that the company is going in the right track, right? It would see the financial reports, it would see the decisions that have been taken over the past X months. So option C would somewhat relieve the concerns that Mr. Shah has. Option E again does not give a ray of hope or optimism to Mr. Garg, right? So again, we do not know for how long the industries may be loss making. Even if the industries are loss making, my company can make a profit out of it, right? So it does not give a optimistic approach to the question that is being asked. Um, that is why again I would select option C as the one that is correct. Any doubts on that? If not, we can move to question two. Nope, nothing. Okay, all right. मैं समझ रहा हूँ why a lot of people went ahead with option E, but again, C gives a solution to the concern that is there with Mr. Shah. Yep, yep. Go ahead.
So
Continue.
I wanted to ask this कि किसी third party के data से can we see कि it is a company is gonna grow?
It's
Can
not
we say
any third party, right?
definitely?
यार देखो, how do newsletters tell investors, right? It's a common practice for financial newsletters or sorts of that to publish a report on कौन से stocks खरीदने चाहिए, कौन से नहीं खरीदने चाहिए, right? Uh, Again, out of options C and E, C has a more correct solution to reducing concerns, right? Rather than option E. E कैसे concern कैसे कम करेगा ये बताओ? मतलब again, I'm sure कि you are confused between the two options C and E. But yes, मतलब in large, Shah is not actively involved in the company, right? But the newsletter per se, we are assuming that they have done their part of research. Shah पांच companies देख रहा है, whatever, X, uh, some number of companies देख रहा है. So assuming that the newsletter has done its research and Shah does not have the time to look into the nitty-gritties of the companies and the balance sheets, he is trusting them in a way.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
All
Yes.
right. Karthik and then Sirish, you can unmute.
Yeah, yeah. So can't we say that the industries in which the sectors in which the two industries are working are in general on a like on a not a very good state right now, and it's a journal thing. So can't we go that way?
Uh, okay, let's look at it from Shah's point of view. Okay,
Mhm.
so if let's say you are Mr. Shah and you are faced with this challenge, तो तुम्हारे कंसर्न कम होंगे क्या इसको सुन के कि इंडस्ट्री लॉस मेकिंग है? यू डू नॉट नो कि कब तक लॉस मेकिंग जाएंगे वो इंडस्ट्रीज, राइट? क्या मेरी कंपनी ग्रो कर पाएगी या नहीं कर पाएगी? यूजुअली व्हेन इंडस्ट्रीज डिक्लाइन इन जनरल, तो एक या दो कंपनीज बंद भी हो सकती है. तो व्हाट इज द गारंटी दैट माय कंपनी विल नॉट बी वन ऑफ दोस?
Yeah, yes, sir.
तो कंसर्न कम नहीं हो रहा ना शाह का, या
Yeah,
तुम्हारा कंसर्न कम नहीं हो रहा?
I
या
get it.
शिरीष?
Yes, actually, I have a doubt in option A.
Hmm.
So it is talking about a double-digit growth of the best performing country, oh sorry,
Hmm.
company. So can't we say that it can be compensated the loss making of that these two companies so that he can be little relaxed about that, that at least one company is doing great job in in that industry which is growing on double digit.
यार अगेन सीईओ का काम होता है टू होलिस्टिकली ग्रो एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन राइट अगेन इट कैन आल्सो मीन दैट द सीईओ इज फोकसिंग ऑन जस्ट वन थिंग एंड इज नॉट डूइंग हिज जॉब प्रॉपरली राइट उनका काम है कि पूरा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एज अ होल ग्रो नॉट जस्ट वन सेक्टर और टू सेक्टर्स ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री राइट और द कंपनी तो उसके अंडर अगर तीन कंपनीज है द पर्सन शुड लुक एट ऑल ऑफ देम
Okay, okay, got it.
Shah was doing the same thing, so why not the expectation from the new CEO?
Yeah, yeah, got it.
Yeah.
And also, it is saying that it belongs to an industry which is in general experiencing double-digit growth,
हाँ,
right? It doesn't mean
इसमें
the
effort भी नहीं
company
लगेगा
is experiencing that.
correct. हाँ, it does not talk anything about the loss-making companies or all the companies in general. सही बात है.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Question two. चलो कर ही लेते हैं साथ में कर लेते हैं इसको ऑप्शन डी 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 अ लॉट ऑफ डीज ओके हाँ मेक सेंस देखो ऑप्शन ए तो डायरेक्टली इज प्रमोटिंग ब्राइबरी ओके तो वो तो नहीं लेंगे हम option B. Okay, there's an environmental group that is protesting, and you contact the minister. Does that make sense? Right. And you are asking the minister in what authority can you ask a minister to request the groups to call off their protest or whatever their threats, right? Option C, contact the local police, appraise them of the situation, and request them to provide adequate security cover. It does not deal with the situation that we are in. This can be a temporary solution or a temporary fix, but again, it does not acknowledge the thing that is being asked in the question. Option D, remind the environmental group that the company plants 6 times as many trees as it cuts. This is giving a solution to the group. This is showing your course of action, what you're doing, right? Option E, inform the group that the company has best in class waste treatment. Again, does not cater to the problem in hand. कुछ तीसरी चीज बता रहे हो तुम उन्हें, right? Option D, B एक आया. Okay. Again, are there any doubts कि B क्यों नहीं होगा? Everyone else I see is D. If not, we'll move on to the next question. Yep, good. B. E. Now a minister has approached you, right? So you can't altogether ignore a minister's request. Again, assuming that uh, you have an influential person to deal with. तो ignore तो option है ही नहीं. Accept option C, accept the minister's request. Now, you can't change your company's norms in any way. Option D also talks about a similar thing that reset the norms. एक individual के लिए you cannot reset the norms, right? Option E, inform the minister that he would be willing to accommodate his nephew as MT, but at a manager's salary. Don't you think कि अगर किसी को कंपनी में पता चल गया तो they would be
तो क्लियरली अनएथिकल हो गया ना ये तो.
हाँ बस वही है तो ऑप्शन बी बेस्ट फिट है इसमें कोई और ऑप्शन मतलब कंसिडर करने के लायक भी नहीं है इसमें तो राइट एंड अगेन स्पॉन्सर अगर तुम कर रहे हो किसी की स्टडीज तो देर आर रूल्स टू हाउ यू स्पॉन्सर कहीं पे लिखा नहीं हुआ है कि द कंपनी डज नॉट स्पॉन्सर इट्स जस्ट कि प्रोफेशनल एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशन होनी चाहिए एक राइट एंड अगेन यू आर recruiting them as a trainee not as a manager directly तो वो भी है कि कंपनी का जो मैनेजर का क्राइटेरिया है वो कुछ मंथ्स ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस था, आई गेस सो 5
5 years.
years of experience. हाँ ठीक है, तो again as per his caliber and the requirements of the company we can promote him as and when he's fit, right? तो इसमें अगर किसी को डाउट ना हो तो we can move it. शुभम, आर यू देयर इन द कॉल? 5-10 मिनट एक्सटेंड कर सकते हैं क्या? आई थिंक दे हैव
Yeah, yeah,
समथिंग
yeah,
प्लान.
understand.
तुम्हारा कुछ प्लान नहीं है आज ओरिएंटेशन वगैरह, आई बिलीव?
We will postpone it.
अच्छा ठीक है शुभम, तो आई गेस 15 minutes और we'll extend the session, ठीक है? Okay. uh, 8-1, 3 minutes for you. We'll discuss this at 8-1, okay? फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन में कोई है जिसको ऑप्शन ई नहीं लग रहा है? ई इज द करेक्ट आंसर फॉर इट. Yep, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, like, option E is just saying that we will not count their performance, right?
Hmm.
But the performance will still be down. That's like Syed would still think that the performance will go down. We'll just not count it.
See, organizations में कुछ metrics होते हैं, right, to calculate the performance of the branch. Now the company only has provided a provision that a new joinee, again, a new joinee may need time to acclimatize to the new territory, pull contacts in the new territory, especially in sales and jobs like those, right? So again, option E talks ki we can delay the inclusion of the new joinees' performance into the brand's own performance, right? So this will reduce Sayed's fear. What is his primary fear? That because of Palini joining, the matrix will go down in its totality, right?
Yeah, but another thing is that the branch will exclude the new joinee's performance only. So next year also his performance will be calculated, and then the branch's performance will go down because according to Syed, Polani won't perform well.
What is the next best option that you have?
I thought of A
Okay.
because it's like for 12 years this guy has exceeded the targets all the time. So he
Huh.
might have had bad performing and good performing employees across his stint. So it's like
Hmm.
placing his trust on that guy. Second, he will manage it somehow.
Okay, okay. But all right, I get your point. But the thing is, see, okay, it option A talks about the past. ठीक है, future की तो कोई बात ही नहीं है, right? Palini was not there again. We do not know what was the team formation पहले prior to Palini joining, right? What is primary fear is after Palini's transfer, the performance might reduce, right? तो वो past से तो कोई linkage ही नहीं है. How is it linked to the past?
Hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yep.
Again, there can be अगर performance down रहती है for prolonged period, there can be actions taken basis on those. But immediately, option E will provide a solution. Immediately, what else do you have as an option, right? Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else who has a question on that, on this question first? I see two hands, Prachi and Simran. Any one of you? Okay, Prachi is one. Simran?
Yeah, so just you mentioned that it's not related to the past, but like if we consider this option per se, the means we can basically say now ki if in the past the head of the branch has succeeded targets every time, so based on the decision of the past, we can at least means it's assume ki past mein if they have he has succeeded, then he probably would succeed in present as well, because the last option according to me as well is quite unethical in the sense that you are not even, you are not even just calculating the performance of, you are not calculating the performance of the new joinee. So it seems quite unethical in my stance as well.
See, again, it is the head which will calculate the performance of the branch, and it is most probably to report it to the headquarters of the main office, right? So you may or may not make the candidate aware कि आपकी performance include नहीं हुई है. What is his primary fear कि जब वो report करेगा तो एक declining trend दिखेगा उससे, right?
Hmm.
Immediate fear वही है, right? Again, he is well aware कि past में उसकी performance अच्छी हुई है, right? But again, past में Palini was not part of the team. Does that make sense again?
Okay.
I get the confusion, but you usually do not link pasts when a scenario has been changed for you.
Okay, fine.
And
Thank you.
he's well aware that Palini ka performance in previous branch was poor. But now you have that person under you. You cannot do anything immediately. Probably this can be used as a option A can be used as something can increase confidence of him कि exceeding years में उसकी performance better हो सकती है क्योंकि वो training अच्छी दे सकता है और he can share the techniques that he uses, right? Satyendra uses,
Okay.
but immediately it does not offer a solution and will not reduce the fear. Again, rather it would increase the fear कि past 12 साल से तुम्हारा branch shoot up कर रहा है, but because of a new person एक अचानक डिक्लाइन हो जाए तो दैट कैन रिफ्लेक्ट एज अ बैड थिंग फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर ब्रांच, राइट? बिकॉज ऑफ यू ज्वाइनिंग वट एवर टीम कॉम्पोजिशन अगर तुम्हारी चेंज हो रही है. इफ वी आर डन क्वेश्चन 2.
वन में जो ई ऑप्शन है वो अनएथिकल तो नहीं होगा ना, बिकॉज इफ द ब्रांच हेड हैज द चॉइस इट मींस दैट इट हैज रिटन समवेयर इन द कंपनी पॉलिसी.
करेक्ट
तो
करेक्ट,
वो
वो पॉलिसी
अनएथिकल
के
तो
अगेंस्ट
नहीं
नहीं
है.
जा रहा है. इट्स नॉट अनएथिकल. The branch head has a choice and there is a reason why that option has been included, right? बिल्कुल अनएथिकल नहीं है ये क्योंकि कंपनी की पॉलिसी में है. And usually, there is a buffer time after which you include the performance of a new joinee. Again, the new joinee may not be aware of the thing, right? उसको aware करने की जरूरत है नहीं हमको. As a head, we are just reporting those figures to the main branch. A. Anyone apart from A? A correct answer है.
Yeah. So like this.
Sir, is this the last question for today?
एक मिनट, वन एट टाइम प्लीज, आपस में डिसाइड कर लो.
Is this the
Yeah.
last question for today?
Yes, 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 it's the last set for today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, in this question, I don't have any idea like which option will go where. I have no framework to decide which is good and which is right. So if you may.
हाँ ठीक है. See, it's okay to not have a definite answers in all the questions. Okay, option A is the right option because again, it is the only option that can help us quantify the numbers, right? Option B are again more or less qualitative in nature, right? If that makes sense. A होगा right answer. Uh, just because हम एक definite number पे arrive कर सकते हैं and logical backing भी है.
Yeah.
B option talks about कि Palani has poor public transport connectivity, but what is Palani using? Right? It does not talk about the current situation. It just talks about a problem. Option A talks about कि नए join नहीं है, तो personal vehicle नहीं है, therefore they are using rickshaws, right? So सारे सारे factors cater in कर रहे हैं. क्या problem है? What is Palani doing differently? And एक definite number है कि okay we can arrive कि personal motorcycle से 30% ज़्यादा रिक्शा हो सकता है, whatever it is, right? Again, option E also does not make sense, right? Palani has to visit customers repetitively as they require additional persuasion. They're working in the same branch, assuming they have a similar set of people they're dealing with. Right. Option D, option E, both of them. Option C also just talk about कि कैसे अलग है वो. Third question and then we'll close the session. Right. Option C होगा. See, what the question is asking for is which of now Satyendra has to allocate people, right, in the future. Which of the following information will be the least useful to Satyendra in taking a fair location? Now, option A and B talk about Saeed's performance. Similarly, option D and E talks about Godwin's performance. So, all the four options have a benchmark attached to them, right? And we can decide that either to give more territory or less territory basis on their particular performance. Option C does not have a benchmark, internal benchmark rather attached to it, right? A new territory thus faces competition from two unknown brands. So we do not have any, rather very little information attached with option C, right? So it ideally should be the least useful to Satyendra, right? Any differing thoughts to it? Question 3. Like मतलब हम खुद अनश्योर है यार उस टेरिटरी को लेके, तो हाउ कैन वी यूज दैट इंफॉर्मेशन इन अलोकेशन? If no doubts, तो yep, go ahead.
Yes, actually, not about this question. I want to generally ask what can be a good attempt in these questions, accuracy and accuracy wise, at least in this seed only.
यार if you have a मतलब net score of let's say 70%, 60-70%, which most of you had, I would consider that as a uh, good attempt.
Uh,
Again, the hmm?
yeah. So these questions are all the questions are from past Z papers or
नहीं मेंशन्ड है पहला वाला Z 2008 का था लास्ट वाला Z 2012 का था एंड द रेस्ट टू सेट्स वर
okay. So this is the level of the question which we will see in the actual exam as well.
हाँ 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 लेवल यही रहने वाला है तुम्हारा
So actually I got 10 correct, 1 incorrect. So I thought के actually I solved the DM part first time. So I was little surprised के इतना accuracy आता है generally और you know
Yeah, see, again, on the day of the paper, what happens is a different theory altogether. But if that is the path you are in the right direction, I would say. It's not a tough section. It just requires you some practice, some training on your own, and you should be good to go.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Any more questions?
So
And
just
Sirish,
one, just one more point. So it's a section of guts also. So I have seen people hardly attending 7 8 question and they will start weeping after results are out. So here things will be little dicey sometimes. Like you will can't figure out that option B or C is correct, right? So
Hmm.
attempt at least DM questions, and in all the mocks try to attempt all the questions, so you know that what is the percentage you are getting, what is the accuracy you are achieving. So people hardly attend 6 7 question and they think that cutoff will be 5, right? So
नहीं
don't do that.
वो नहीं होगा वो तो see the thing is maximize your attempts in DM. Okay, I usually do not say it for quants or VRC, but DM is a section अगर आप दो options में भी narrow down कर पा रहे हो ना बहुत ज्यादा thought process मत लगाओ उसमें. Usually आपका last year if I tell you 60% marks translated to about 96 97 percentile in DM, right? And last year में marks and versus percentile थोड़ा सा skew हुआ है. अगर आप उसके पहले का ट्रेंड देखोगे 60% मार्क्स विल गिव यू 99 परसेंटाइल इन डीएम, राइट? तो मैक्सिमाइज योर अटेम्प्ट्स. कोई अगर ऐसा एक क्वेश्चन है जहां पे आप दो ऑप्शंस में नैरो डाउन बिल्कुल ही नहीं कर पा रहे तभी लीव दैट क्वेश्चन अनअटेम्प्टेड. बट एज शुभम सेड, राइटली मेंशन्ड, आई वुड से कि एम फॉर मैक्सिमम अटेम्प्ट्स फॉर डीएम. ऑलराइट. एंड इजी क्वेश्चन, इजी सेक्शन है यार. मतलब थोड़ा सा कॉमन सेंस चाहिए, थोड़ा सा लॉजिकल रीजनिंग चाहिए एंड यू शुड बी गुड टू गो. कोई एक्सटर्नल नॉलेज नहीं चाहिए इसके लिए, कोई बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ाई, एक्सटेंसिव पढ़ाई की जरूरत नहीं है, सिलेबस नहीं है. तो रिलेटिवली इजियर सेक्शन टू स्कोर. श्वेता, यू हैव अ क्वेश्चन डाउट प्लीज.
यस सर, मुझे ये पूछना था, हाउ डू वी एनालाइज द डीएम सेक्शन? मतलब थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है, क्यूए और वीआरसी तो हो जाता है.
See, assuming you are attempting past year papers या फिर जो भी
राइट.
मॉक्स है, राइट?
यस.
तो ये चीज देखो कि थॉट प्रोसेस कितनी अलाइन हो रही है, राइट? यू नीड टू सी व्हाट ऑल थिंग्स वर टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. लाइक आज हमने देखा कि एक एस्पेक्ट हो सकता है कि एथिकल बेसिस पे वो है, वी आर चूजिंग द राइट ऑप्शंस. रादर ये हो सकता है कि एलिमिनेशन पे भी आप फोकस कर सकते हो कि ऑन व्हाट पैरामीटर्स आर वी एलिमिनेटिंग द ऑप्शंस. Either it can be the option can be too harsh, right? That is one way to eliminate. Too extreme हो सकता option. Either one of the stakeholders is getting affected adversely. तो ये तीन चार चीजें होती हैं on which you form a thought process to a particular question. So look at the factors that were taken into account. ओके. सी एक पॉइंट तक आप एलिमिनेट कर सकते हो, देन यू हैव टू सिलेक्ट, राइट? तो एलिमिनेशंस के लिए ये सब हो सकते हैं. सिलेक्शंस के लिए यू कैन अगेन चूज सिमिलर फैक्टर्स. विच ऑफ देम इज अ मोर एथिकल, मोर pragmatic thing? Which of the options caters to the solutions on an immediate basis? Rather, which of the factors cater to all the pain points that are mentioned in the question, right? So these one more factor can be कि all the stakeholders are happy after the decision. So these are the things that you consider while selecting an option. तो more or less explanation पढ़ो, जितना detailed explanation मिल सके उतना better है. And see where you are diverging from that particular thought process, right? तो कुछ नहीं करना, बस you have to get inside the shoes of the paper setter or the person जिसका POV से question बना है, right? And उसके point of view से एक बार assess करना है कि what is right or what is wrong.
सर आप मतलब किसका आंसर की रेफर करना रेकमेंड करोगे?
See, अगर
From
देखो, I'll not give you a singular answer to that, okay? Very clearly. अगर किसी कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट का आंसर सेटिस्फैक्टरी नहीं लग रहा है, गो फॉर अनदर कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट। ओके, जिसके साथ भी तुम्हें अलाइनमेंट हो रही है ना ज्यादा, स्टिक टू दैट। अगेन, पिक अप एनी मेजर की इंस्टीट्यूट्स, मोर और लेस सिमिलर लाइंस पे उनका होगा। अगर कोई एक पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन के लिए भी देखना है तो देख लो, बहुत सारे मिल जाएंगे, 5-6 तो आई कैन नेम विदाउट गूगलिंग, राइट।
Okay.
तो एंड सबके फ्री अवेलेबल होते हैं, तो आई वोंट आस्क यू टू पे एक्स्ट्रा फॉर दीज थिंग्स। प्रीवियस क्वेश्चन के आंसर्स मिल ही जाएंगे। अगेन एज आई सेड कि 100% एक्यूरेसी किसी की नहीं बनेगी डीएम में, इवन कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स की नहीं बनती। द 2008 क्वेश्चन दैट आई शोड, राइट, 2 डिफरेंट सॉल्यूशंस फॉर 3 डिफरेंट इंस्टीट्यूट्स एंड 3 बिग इंस्टीट्यूट्स। तो 100% एक्यूरेसी किसी की नहीं बनेगी, इवन कोचिंग वालों की नहीं बनती है। तो तुमसे तो एक्सपेक्टेड नहीं होता है वो, बट हाँ, अगर मेजर करेक्ट हो रहा है, यू आर ऑन द राइट ट्रैक। ग्रंथ,
So
हो गया
yeah,
ना
just
शुभम?
one quick thing. हाँ, जो हमने अभी just previous one of the question जो solve किया ना, that बांगा वाला,
हम्म
तो उसमें there is a I was just going through ZAT के previous year questions, तो उसमें ZAT 2019 में there's a same question like that, just names different, but उसका answer official is that assessment वाला thing by XLRI.
एक बार एक काम करो, ग्रंथ, डिस्कॉर्ड पे यू आर एडेड टू द चैनल, राइट?
हाँ,
वी आर अ लिटिल शॉर्ट ऑन टाइम, इसको डिस्कस करते हैं, ठीक है? पिंग मी ओवर देयर, विल डिस्कस दिस, विल टेक दिस
हाँ,
आउटसाइड द फोन,
okay.
ठीक है? ऑल राइट, ओके,
Thank you.
ऑल राइट, ऑल राइट।